PFG, bring the game.
Peace, my fellow PFGs. Freeform 64 back again, and of course today I'm going to be doing my Sony's E3 2017 press conference review. Mouthful. Anyway, I'll be looking at this as a consumer who's going in to purchase a new console. That's a perspective I'll basically be coming from because I don't actually own a PlayStation. And I'm actually looking into getting a PlayStation, but I'm going to look at this. I already own an Xbox and a Switch at this point, but I'm going to look at this as a buyer who is going in, looking at both conferences and saying, okay, between this one and this one, and then of course, what do they have in their existing library as well? That's how I'm going to be talking about this because I don't own a PlayStation, so I can't speak of it from that perspective as an experienced owner of the platform. Well, getting right into it. Starting off the show, it was great. I mean, it was normal Sony fashion. They had the band out. Well, it wasn't a band, but it was a group of performers with their instruments, musical instruments, and they had the water cascading down with the lighting, making the water like it was taking shape and form and whatnot. The music was great. It was very atmospheric. They had beautiful lighting going on. Normal Sony, presentation stuff. So I was delighted with that. I enjoyed that a lot. And then they had the usual suit and tie come out. Who came out today? Sean Layden came out. He spoke briefly. It was just a bunch of demos, in normal Sony fashion, but it looked cinematic. It looks more like you're looking at a line of Sony movie entertainment or whatever the hell they call it, because they make their games look like films. That's kind of, I've noticed, especially in this E3, after looking at the past one, but this one more particularly, like looking at the games that came out of Sony's camp, they pretty much look exactly the same. Like, you just kind of had that frame, that picture, and then you just kind of move the character out and the enemies out, and you could put different enemies in. For instance, like, and that's not a bad thing. This is just kind of a theme I noticed that they're going for, kind of a look, like this rich, detailed, realistic, very cinematic look that Sony's going for with their first-party titles, like God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, and what is this game? Days Gone. They all look the same as far as like the aesthetics, the open world, wooded type of environment, with a lot of foliage everywhere, and heavy detail on the rocks and the grounds and whatnot. And then you got the camera that's kind of canted, so you got the character off to the side of the screen, and you're looking over the shoulder. It just looks familiar, It's kind of like they're all in the same world. So much so where even like God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn, I swear I saw Eloy in the God of War trailer. I know you saw her too, right? I was like, come on, how's she gonna crop up in this game too, bro? But anyway, I knew it wasn't her, but just again saying that the games look familiar. Not bad, but it is what it is. You're playing a Sony game, and that's kind of how I think they're trying to go for that look. But anyway, so that happened. It was good opening up. They ran the reels and everything. But in the beginning, Sony had some issues. They had issues with the audio, and that was really, really bad, honestly. The game that they showed, what was it? Drake's Uncharted. It was the Lost Legacy they were showing then, and that was an expansion. If I were to get a PlayStation, I would get Drake's Uncharted just because, but it's not a really most anticipated game for me. But for the fan base, it's good to see Lost Legacy. It's good to see that, hey, this game that just came out not too long ago has more content in it, and it looks good. So I'll try it out. Why not? Let's see. They also showed Horizon Zero Dawn. That looked good too. It was another expansion, and that game just came out, so that's good. The game did well, so an expansion is coming out, and these are two single player games. So this is thrown right in the face of what Microsoft was talking about, or Phil Spencer with Microsoft, what he was talking about as far as single player games don't really do well. We shouldn't really focus on them and But here you are, and you got two games from Sony that have expansions to them, single player games, And then Breath of the Wild for Nintendo, single player game with expansions. That's a good thing. So I enjoyed seeing that. But again, like I said, the sound went out for the Drake's Uncharted Lost Legacy, so that was a bit of a bummer. Because it really did. It almost made it seem like with this high quality visuals on the screen, the sound being out made it almost seem like it was one of those bootleg movies, you know, where you hear the sound all muffled in the video. That's really crappy. The colors are all distorted and everything. But it wasn't distorted, it just made it feel like that. So the sound is very, very important. So seeing that happen kind of took it down a notch right out the gate. But yeah, seeing those expansions were good. So let's look at the games here. They got looks like they have the marketing rights to a number of these games. And that's what I wanted to look at. Okay. So anyway, if I'm not mistaken, they got COD World War II, Destiny 2, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I think that might be an exclusive if I'm not mistaken. And then Monster Hunter World, looks like they got the marketing for that as well. I don't know, but those all showed well. And I'm going to go ahead and take the Marvel vs. Capcom out of that because I'm not sure about that one. But COD, Destiny 2, and Monster Hunter World showed really well. I was very happy to see the Monster Hunters. I was like, oh my gosh, what the hell? You know, so we got Monster Hunter on the Switch with the XX. So hopefully I can get a copy of that and it'll have English subtitle. If not, hopefully they send it to, you know, the States so I can get that for the Switch. But then you got Monster Hunter World, which obviously I would love to I'd love to see it on the Switch. But I mean, I have an Xbox, so I can at least get it on the Xbox. But I thought I was gonna have to get it on the PS4. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. But we'll see. This may not be a mainline. People are saying it's mainline. It's a big, huge dispute about that or whatever. It was really good to see a Monster Hunter on their stage, though. COD World War II. It showed really well. The game looks phenomenal. I'm not exactly interested in Call of Duty. I've been quite burnt out with Call of Duty, and I've been around since the beginning of the Call of Duty thing. So, I mean, I remember when Call of Duty didn't even exist. I remember when Call of Duty was in like the EGM magazines, you know, and who was it that was doing the Call of Duty team? Was it Infinity Ward at the time? Before it was, I think it was. Anyway, I think it was Infinity Ward. And they were talking about the first Call of Duty, the first World War Call of Duties they were making, and how they were making the sounds and, you know, the visuals and animations, trying to be true to life and all that. They spent time in, you know, boot camps and at gun ranges with, you know, real veterans and whatnot. And that's when Call of Duty was nothing. That's when Medal of Honor was the shit. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I remember reading about this game, the first Call of Duty, and being like, yo, this is gonna be, wow, these guys are gonna make something amazing. And they did. But here we are today, and I'm burnt out on Call of Duty. So, I don't know, it looks good. It was good to have it on their stage. I'm sure a lot of people are really happy about that. Destiny 2, again, another huge game to have on their stage. It's good. I mean, I didn't like what Bungie did with the model of the last game. But apparently they did well, you know, well enough because they secured a huge market and a lot of fans. So that was good to see on their stage. And Destiny 2 does look beautiful. One thing I did like about Destiny was the visual art style, because Halo, the original ones made by Bungie, just had some of the most vast and beautiful, unbelievable, like, you know, monolithic fucking environments. You know, just huge environments that were just breathtaking. As the game went on, it kind of lost that kind of luster there. I mean, it still had that kind of idea, but the art direction just wasn't the same. And when you look at this game, you can tell who was behind the art direction of the, you know it's Bungie, you know what I mean? So, beautiful game. And I like that. That's one of the things that's kind of make me want to get the game. But I definitely have to see more on that one. But either way, again, it is good. Monster Hunter World. I definitely want that. And yeah. So anyway, but like I said, I see that on Xbox. So all those are gonna be on Xbox. Let's see, exclusives. They got Days Gone. Days Gone looks interesting. Probably not something I'll pick up day one, but it's something I'll definitely look at and see what it's about. Because again, for me, looking at that game, it was just like I was looking at Horizon Zero Dawn. I mean, instead of a girl with animal skins and, you know, faux locks and all this stuff, you know, running around with Tecmo gizmos and, you know, caveman clothes, it's a dude in a jean jacket or vest and some jeans, you know what I'm saying? Like running around with his cap back turned backwards, like, hey, what's going on now? I'm creeping around out here, you know? So it looks like they replaced the dinosaurs with hordes of zombies, you know, like they're using the same tech or whatever. I could be wrong, but it just looks like it. Like using the same exact tech, you're playing the same environment. They just changed up the way it looks, and they changed up the AI a little bit and the enemy models. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it kind of looked like, but it didn't look bad. Saying that, it just looks like, you know, everybody's kind of working off the same basic tools and kind of building the same game a little bit. So I don't know. We'll see. I definitely want to see a bit more. It looks kind of interesting, you know, like the fact that you could, you know, do basic things like set up traps, but then the way you set up the traps can cause the enemy to make noise, and for the enemy to make noise, can get those zombies or freakers or whatever they call them to be attracted to you know, your enemy in the game, and you know, that could cause some sort of I don't know, some sort of dynamic scene or something. Hopefully it does. I mean, it seems to me honestly, it seems to me like it's just kind of like a little bit scripted, like that's kind of the only place you can probably do this, and maybe over here this is the only place you can do that or whatnot. So I don't know. We'll see. Detroit Become Human. That shit was dope. I liked Detroit Become Human. Actually, I'm gonna put a pin on that because that's the last one I want to speak on that the most. God of War looked good. I like the cinematics. Visually, it looked great. It looked a lot like Rise when it came to the combat, which isn't a bad thing. Let's see. The only thing I didn't like though about it is it looked a little bit too much like Rise. And what I mean by that is not that it's copying Rise or anything, but Rise was good, but you know, God of War was amazing. You know what I mean? Where you had aerial attacks and all kinds of crazy over the top shit going on. So I don't really want this to just be ground level fighting. You know, I want some aerial shit going on. I want some God of War type shit going on. You know what I mean? So they went to a white guy from a black guy, the past God of Wars, but they kept the black guy's voice, right? Because they wanted to sound like Kratos. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how the game turns out. It looks good though. It looks great, but we'll see if it's going to be something totally different from the God of Wars of the past, you know, or if it's going to be something familiar with something new on top of it, which is fine. Either way, I don't think it's going to be a bad game, but I am concerned that it's not going to, satiate the desires for God of War, you know, from the fans, you know, that really want a God of War, not just a cool game with a God of War name on it. So we'll see. Spider-Man looks fucking phenomenal. That game right there. Look, okay, so I was looking at all these other games in the past, like so Sony has been coming up with a lot of really good games this last year, you know, just this year, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get a PlayStation. You know, but it wasn't until I saw Spider-Man that I was like, okay, that's it. You know what I mean? Because there's no chance it's going anywhere else. This is it. This is the shit. The game looks fantastic. The way that it flowed from real time, you know, controlling your character to quick time events was really cool. I liked it because it kept it really cinematic. It kept your adrenaline pumping. You know, you're just like, oh, on edge. Like, I can't just stop. I have to wait and see what's going on. But then I'm getting caught up in the high octane visuals. I could miss this shot. So I know one of the things that somebody had complained about that I was kind of curious about too was how much of the experience is going to be quick time, use your own buttons. Quick time, use your own buttons. Quick time, use your own buttons. Quick time. You know what I mean? So it seemed like it was just a bunch of quick time events strung together by these tiny little bitty, actual interactions with the game. So I can see that, but to me, I'm thinking they just wanted to show a lot of this, high action stuff that could just show really well without having to slow the game down. I'm gonna give them a chance with that one, but it looked like to me like a lot of people were saying that the swinging was quick time too, and I don't think that's the case. I think that the swinging is natural, like it happens, but there's also different things that you can do in the midst of swinging around the world or whatever, that you can cue by pressing the button. So I think they were giving you like button cues or whatever, but it was confusing because you saw so much quick time and then you see button cues for other shit that you could do while you're just playing. Like when you walk to a door, the A button pops up. So shit like that was popping up, and people kind of confused those for quick time events. I don't think those are quick time events. So anyway, the game looked beautiful. The gameplay looks fun. I love QTEs. Not all QTEs, of course, and not cheaply bullshitty done QTEs or whatever. But this one looks like they did really well. So I'm happy with that. I mean, I played QTEs in Shenmue. So all you fuckers that are begging for Shenmue, if you really want Shenmue, then you're gonna want QTEs. So yeah, let's keep that shit moving. So we did Days Gone. Oh, Shadow of the Colossus. Fucking cool. That was a score. That was like, that's another reason to, get a fucking And look, I don't give a shit what you guys gonna say here. Oh, it's just a remaster, Oh, look, Shadow of the Colossus is a fucking phenomenal game. Now, it's almost, I don't want to say it's up to this level, but if they were to make the Ocarina of Time to the degree that they're making Shadow of the Colossus, I would be totally fine with that. That's what I'm saying. Like, this game is a really good game. And it's not, again, not at that level, but it is like a sleeper hit and a classic, and it's a cult favorite. So anyway, I got to play it on the PS2. I was working at this place called Hastings. It's an entertainment store. They had books, movies, magazines, game consoles, mangas, comic books, figurines. I mean, everything you could fucking imagine having as a nerd. You know what I mean? You got the books, you got the movies. I mean, everything. The little trinkets and all that stuff, man. Posters. Love that place. Anyway, so I was working there and I was looking for a PS2 and searching long and hard. And I wanted a PS2 just for Shadow of Colossus. Ended up running into a friend and they had a PS2 and they let me use theirs at the time. So I was like stoked. I still got a PS2 because I wanted the game so bad. But unfortunately, I didn't even get to go through the game entirely. So perfect for me, And then a lot of people didn't play that game, and a lot of people don't even know about the game of the past. So this new generation of kids. So this is a great opportunity for that great game to get the justice as it deserved, and the new generation of gamers to get to experience something from a period, where games were a whole lot more creative anyway, if you ask me. So, as far as taking risk. So yeah, I'm gonna get that game. That was really good to see, really good exclusive. Oh yeah, and then Detroit. Whew, Detroit Become Human. That was fire. That was fucking phenomenal. And I almost didn't know that it was Detroit because it was so funny because they showed all these big signs and showing. And I was just like, what is this? But a lot of people have been saying it doesn't look as good as it did in the past. I tend to disagree. It looks a lot better than it did in the past. And in fact, the story is a lot stronger than it was in the past. Because it was just back then some generic white boy who was a fucking android. I mean, who cares? You know what I'm saying? But when you put race in the story, you know what I mean? You create this black man, who's an android, and he's talking this way, and you see the other androids are going through like this war of fighting for humanity. The underlying story there is a story of humanity, and how we treat humanity and how we value humanity and stuff like that. So I really like how they did that, how they open it up with the guy singing and stuff. And you're like, what's going on there? Come to find out he was an android the whole time. He wasn't even a real person, It's really cool. I like it. I want to try it out. I'm going to keep my eye on that. And once I pick up a PS4, put it that way, that is what I'm going to be buying that game. I know it's story driven and you ain't point clicking most likely, but shit is awesome. So I'm all in with that one. Let's see, and they showed some VR games. They showed Skyrim VR, which is cool. Moss, Star Child, The Impatient, and then Final Fantasy, was it 15, Monster of the Deep. Now I have to look some of these up because I don't exactly remember all of them, but I remember a few of them that I would actually be interested in. And when I say this, I'm saying this as a person who is not interested in paying a $400, $500, $600, you know the deal, price tag. I'm not willing to pay that at all to get into VR. It's just not established enough for me to make that kind of investment, especially with something like the Switch on the market, where it allows you to do so much more than a standard console at a tag of $300, So when you're looking at something like that, I'm like, I'd rather go with the whole nother console, right? Versus a VR headset. But with that said, there are, again, some games that have intrigued me. And let me get these games right. I think it was Moss. Let's see. I think it was. Give me 1 second here. Yes. Moss looked really, really cool. So there was like this little mouse, and you were a guardian of some sort, overlooking the mouse, and the mouse is aware of your presence. And I guess you're following around the mouse as he goes on this adventure, and you're helping him fight enemies. I don't know if you're the one doing the fighting, but it's him fighting. Either way, it's really cool. I like that. I don't know what's going on, and I like that I don't see swords or hands or guns floating around on a goddamn screen. You know what I mean? Like, I like the fact that this is something different. This is something that's only possible in VR. You know what I mean? Not just this stupid shit. No. I want something different. So that looks very interesting. I'm very curious about that, and I'm going to look more into that. So yeah, Moss was really nice. Let's check this other one out. Skyrim, like I said, looked good. It's Skyrim, you know what I mean? So yeah, it didn't look bad. Oh yeah, Star Child. That was interesting too. Because it was a side scroller, and I like that. I like that. That's the fuck I'm talking about. Like, give me something unique, give me something different, something that I don't expect. Like, what the fuck was that game called? Bravo Team. Get the fuck out of here with that, okay? Like, you could take that shit and I don't give a fuck what you do with it. Just don't bring that shit my way, okay? That's what Yeah, definitely not. Okay, so let's see what we got here. One more. Okay. Let's see. So I don't remember seeing this one. Okay, so there's a psychological horror game, The Impatient, which takes place 100 years before the Until Dawn thing, I believe. 60 years before the Until Dawn. Okay. This is definitely more of a standardized type game for VR, so I don't know, the horror genre and everything, that should be effective in VR, but I don't know, I'm less enthused about that one because, again, it's more standard. You're probably going to see your hands and running around doing normal shit like you do in most games. Let's see. So I got one more VR, and this is the Final Fantasy. For some reason, they didn't stick in my head. I guess I, kind of looked away for a few of them. Let me see. What was it? Monster. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's right. Yeah, I mean, the fishing game, I'm not into. I do know there's a lot of people who are actually into like fishing games though. So VR fishing, come on, yeah. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much all that happened in the show. I don't know about every game, but I hope I do. Oh, they had some pre-conference show games, but I'm not going to discuss those. Decent list, whatever. This show, I would say the show was good. It was a great show, in fact. And what actually made it a great show was the fact that, like I said, in every area, like for instance, okay, hold on. Before I finish here, I almost forgot the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I think that's an exclusive. Let me know. In fact, let me see here. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Okay. I think that's an exclusive though, but anyway, that game looks phenomenal. You know what I mean? Definitely going to be getting that game wherever it lands. Okay, cool. So it's not an exclusive. So it is multiplayer. Okay. So I'm assuming they got some sort of marketing or something like that to have it on their stage. Yeah, the game looks fantastic. I was like, yo, come on, let's get with it. It was almost like they were about to show us a whole full, like, single player or multiplayer story where they did show some story, but I'm imagining that's still going to be like just basic fighting. But either way, the character models look beautiful. The gameplay looked amazing. The characters they got in there are awesome. I just love Wolvie. So as long as you got Wolverine in there, I'm good to go. But yeah, I'm excited to play that. This right here, this press conference, as a person who doesn't own a PS4, even as a person who has a problem with Sony and their business decisions that they make, I just don't like. For instance, like the whole crossplay thing that they're doing. They're not going with crossplay, claiming it's for the protection of the children under their platform's contractual agreement. We have Nintendo on crossplay. At that point, I don't want to hear any excuses about something like that, especially when you've been on the whole online thing forever. You know what I mean? So yeah, no. Just bad business decisions. But with this conference right here, what they have shown over this year, beginning of the year, and then what they've shown at E3, it just confirms to me that I definitely want to get a PS4. I mean, there's just a few games that convince me right away. We've got off the top, we've got Detroit Become Human, we've got God of War, we've got Shadow of Colossus, we've got Spider-Man. Those games right there, enough. That's enough. And I haven't even talked about the games, like I said, that have been released prior that I already want. So I've got tons of games that are established in the library, tons of new games that are currently on the market right now, and tons of games coming up very soon. Definitely a great show as far as I'm concerned. And on top of that, when Sony's trying to push their VR, which most people really aren't interested in, they've actually shown some interesting games that were compelling enough to make me scratch my head like, well, damn, I mean, if there's a price drop $100, maybe I'll consider it. You know what I'm saying? Like, then Sony did a pretty good job. And then at the end of the day, I know people wanted to see more from Sony, but again, I think those are the already established fans of the PlayStation who own that console, who want to see something else. But not having the console and going into it, it looks really good. It looks really good. And it was funny because I almost think that they had a actual intentional audio issue, because if you look at the end of the conference, when they do the I think they have like a sizzle reel of all the games. They showed Drake's Uncharted, the Lost Legacy scene of the two ladies together, and that door slammed, boom. And they were like, was that supposed to happen? I don't know. It just, to me, it was so instant when she said it. It was kind of like, it was so distinct. Like, I don't know. It's like they wanted you to pay attention to, like, was that supposed to happen? Was the sound supposed to do that? What I thought. But, like a little, But also, Sean Layden, this dude right here, he is fucking hilarious, because at the end, when they actually showed Spider-Man, this is what made the show a great show to me, because it was a good show, But it was a great show when he did like had the humor and it was like just some low key like dry humor, like just a nice jab on the low key. You know what I mean? So Sean Layden is talking about wrapping up the show or whatnot, and he says,
"Let me leave you with a true PlayStation exclusive, a true exclusive from PlayStation, from one of the industry's most respected developers."
So that part right there, right? He said it twice. I mean, it's like he wanted you to catch it, you know, because you got Xbox, Microsoft, Phil Spencer saying, "We've got 22 exclusives, blah, blah, blah." And he comes out and he's like, "Oh, console launch exclusive, console launch exclusive." Turns out that doesn't really mean anything. I mean, it's as thin as paper, essentially. You don't know when the exclusivity ends for that, you know, for those titles, but it looks good on stage, you know. So anyway, it was just so funny when Sean Layden made light of that and gave that nice, it was just such an elegant jab, you know what I mean? It was like one of those elegant boxers or something, you know what I mean?
PFG, bring the game.